This video is brought to you by
Cool Green Clothing. We done gone worldwide, and we coming straight out of Baltimore. And if you in town, pull up on us. We're on the block with it at 215 West Saratoga Street. And if you're not in town, go online right now at coolgreenclothing.com and make your purchase. Oh yeah, and by the way, if you ain't cool and getting the green, you're in the way. And that's just basic.
It's your girl, Mrs. Tony Two Times, and I'm back with another episode of the Baltimore Way. In this video, I'll be discussing the heartbreaking story of 14-year-old Shandrea Griffin, a young life stolen after a forbidden relationship turned fatal. But before we get into this video, please hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already and join the Tony Two Times family. Tap that notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. And of course, feel free to share this video with everyone you know. Alright, let's get into it. In April of 2008, the city of Baltimore was shaken by the loss of a 14-year-old girl whose future seemed so bright. Shandrea Griffin, a 7th grader with a warm smile and big dreams, was found gone inside an East Baltimore Rowhouse. The man responsible was just 18 years old and somebody she had only recently met. Shandrea was the youngest of 5 siblings. She loved hanging out with friends, listening to music, especially her favorite song, Dun Dun by Shawty Lo, and shopping at Aeropostale. Her favorite color was yellow, a reflection of her bright personality. Her family says she stayed close to home and away from trouble. She was the kind of child who was the happiest surrounded by loved ones. At Booker T. Washington Middle School, she was well-liked and full of energy. After the tragedy, Shandrea's classmates created a heartbreaking tribute to a life gone too soon. On the morning of April 14, 2008, Baltimore police were called to the 1900 block of North Patterson Park Avenue at 9:12 a.m. Inside the basement of a row house, they found Shandrea of the 1900 block of McCullough Street lying in bed with nothing on from the waist down, with a single shot to the right temple. She was pronounced gone at the scene. Neighbors and passerbys gathered behind yellow crime scene tape as police searched vacant lots and alleys for the weapon police believe was used in the fatal shooting. 18-year-old Charles Jakes was also in the basement, suffering from a shot wound to his right thumb. His mother, who had been upstairs, rushed down after hearing the shot and saw Shandrea badly wounded. Charles told her, "I think I ended her." Paramedics transported Charles to Union Memorial Hospital to be treated for his injury. While at the hospital, he told police, "It was a mistake. I didn't mean to end Shorty." For Shandrea's family, the first sign of tragedy came when her mother called her phone and a detective answered. So who was this young man that Shandrea found herself with in the basement? Charles Jakes had a troubling past. His record was lengthy, including burglary and bringing a knife to school. He had spent over a year in juvenile detention, even being sent to a facility in Ohio. On April 2, 2008, less than 2 weeks prior to the tragic incident, Charles was released from jail after pleading guilty to burglary and one other charge. His 5-year prison sentence was suspended and he was placed on probation. Police said Charles and Shandrea were dating, but her family disputed this, insisting they were just friends. Shandrea's mother strictly prohibited her from being with Charles. However, Shandrea didn't take heed to her mother's rules. Her mother told the Baltimore Sun that on the Sunday night before she was found gone, Shandrea had snuck out of the house and ended up spending the night with Charles at his mother's home on North Patterson Avenue. Her father later told reporters that the two had met only weeks prior through a mutual friend, and his daughter quickly grew attached to Charles, practically falling in love with him. Charles Jakes was treated and released from the hospital and then taken to the precinct where investigators tried to interview him, but Charles refused to make any further statements. He was later arrested and charged with first-degree hit, but eventually pleaded guilty to second-degree hit and a firearm charge. The sentencing hearing was raw with emotion. Shandrea's mother addressed Charles directly, pounding her fist on the bench and shouting, "Nothing you say will bring my child back. Read the Bible. You reap what you sow." The grief in the room was palpable. Every word a reminder of the young life that had been lost. Charles apologized to the family, saying, "It was a mistake from the beginning. I didn't know she was 14 or anything like that." But his face showed no emotion. The judge sentenced him to 25 years in prison. Upon his release from prison, he will be on probation for 5 years. If he violates probation, he could serve up to 50 years in prison for the crime. May Shandrea continue to rest in peace. My belated condolences to her family. Her story is truly heartbreaking. Shandrea's case is more than just a tragic headline. It's a story about choices, vulnerability, and the dangers that young people can face, sometimes without even realizing it. A child's curiosity and trust met with a young man's recklessness ended in irreversible loss. A young girl's life was stolen before she had the chance to grow up, and an 18-year-old man, barely an adult himself, has spent decades in prison for pulling the trigger. Shandrea was just beginning her life, unaware of how dangerous that basement would be. For her family, there is no closure, and for her friends, her absence is a daily reminder of how fragile youth can be. And for the rest of us, her story asks the questions: how can we protect young people from those who would harm them, sometimes hiding in plain sight? How do we protect our children from risky relationships? And how do we recognize the warning signs before tragedy strikes? Because until we find the answers, there will be more situations like this, and more parents left to mourn the future that will never come. Fam, what are your thoughts on this tragic situation? Do you believe Charles's actions were truly a mistake, or was it done with malicious intent? Let me know in the comments below. Again, rest in peace, Shandrea. May you never be forgotten. All right, fam, that's it for this episode of the Baltimore Way. Thank you so much for watching. If this story moved you, consider liking and sharing. Subscribe for more stories like this and for the stories behind the headlines, because behind them all is a family forever changed. Also, if you'd like to see more episodes of the Baltimore Way, please click the link to the playlist in the description box after this video. This is your girl, Mrs. Tony 2 Times. Until next time.